Hello everybody, Joe Bagnones here. Welcome back for another episode of Umineko. Last time, we finished off episode 3, so now let's hop right on into our little extra interim chapter stuff before we hop on to 4, Head up that tea party and then go to the, I don't know what to call it, the question mark dimension, the witch's coven fucking event, I don't know. Episode 3, whatever, it's the same. Tea party, please pull up a seat and wind down. That was your sojourn in Rokkenjima, a pleasant one. The Golden Witch has gifted you with an invitation to her tea party. I hope you will participate. We will, because it seems like some pretty relevant scenes and information that we need to get, because, yeah, I'm gonna need a after-action report on that one, Chief. Yeah, you fucking got him.
まさか最後の最後でベルンカステル教の駒が乱入してくるとは。
あんたとのゲームにふさわしい駒を
Fucking took you long
あ
enough.
ちこち探し回ったの。きっと気に入ってもらえると思うわ。
Oh yeah, I'm sure. They'll get along just swimmingly. I mean, it was pretty obvious if you were following along. I mean, and it was in the credits.
わらわは大体察しはついておるが。というか、普通わかるであろう。
It doesn't take a genius.
普通？わかんないわよ。初登場のキャラでしょ。
I mean, just look at her.
名乗らなかったら、私もプレイヤーもみんなわかんないわよね。
Fucking head empty, no thoughts.
レアと教えてあげなくていいわよ。
Yeah, let her fucking do a little thinking on her own.
面白い子でしょ。
うん。ラムダデルタ教の天真爛漫にして天然なところは実に貴重で面白いものである。
Simple-minded naivete. That's a nice way of putting it.
何よ。なんで私にだけ教えてくれないのよ。意地悪。じゃあ、私だけが気づいたとっておきの秘密を特別に教えてあげるわ。だから教えなさいよ。
ほう。
I like secrets.
とっておきの秘密とな。聞きたいぞ。
べーだ。教えてほしかったら、先にあの女の正体を教えるのよ。私の知った秘密はすごいわよ。
I mean, is it really awesome, or is it just awesome from your perspective?
何しろ、サンタさんの正体が実はお父さんだったってくらいすごいんだから。あら。
Who would have thunk?
言っちゃった。ごめんなさいね。天地がひっくり返るくらいびっくりしちゃ
Now
った
that I
で
know
し
your
ょ。
scale of reference, I'm no longer excited.
ラムダのとこにはお父さんが来てたの？
来てたのってどういう意味よ。
サンタクロース教は心の綺麗な子供のところへしか訪れないのよ。
Capital? As in, we did last time, capital letter katakana, or in this case, just regular all caps, because, there'd really be no other way to differentiate, is reserved for, witches?
あんたのとこには来なかったのね。
まあ。サンタクロース教は寛大である
Alright,
からな。
cool. Santa Claus is canon. It's like in the X-Men, how Santa Claus is like a top-class mutant.
よっぽどの大悪党でもない限りプレゼントを恵んでくださるぞ。何しろわらわにもくれたくらいだからな。
So the bar is real low.
心がすさんでくると来なくなるのよね。レアとのとこにはいくつくらいまで来てたの？
Santa comes all the time. In fact, he just sent me an air fryer that I got in the mail that, there's a lot of people he needs to do, so sometimes he outsources it, and sometimes just, FedEx drops things off for him a couple days before Christmas, because, the kids come first, so all the adults, they can get some of their stuff before or after, it's the thought that counts. And he sent me a nice ninja air fryer. Nice Santa.
12歳くらいまでは来ておったぞ。乙女心に目覚めると急にサンタ教が来るのがなんだか恥ずかしくなってな。これまでありがとうございました。もう結構です。 だから最後のプレゼントは奮発してくださいと手紙を置いたら来なくなった。ちょっぴり期待したのだがな。
Well, you know, can't be like asking Santa for
ベ
stuff
ルンカステル教はいつくらいまで
like
来ていた
that
の？
anyway.
私、すさんでたし、結構早かったっけ。確か9歳頃ね。なんか、あのヒゲが無性にムカついて、ちょん切ってやろうと、布団の中で裁縫バサミ構えて待ってたの。痛いお年頃よね。
で、ラムダデルタ教には物心ついてからサンタクロース教がおいでになったことがないと。普通は小学校高学年から中学校くらいまでの間までは来るものであるぞ。
What a little twisted creature you must be.
ある意味、お医者で見てもらった方がいいわよ。
Yeah, maybe she's due for her shots.
早熟すぎると、心身の成長に悪影響があるらしいから。ああ、確かに出てるわね。悪影響。
Yeah, plenty of them in this
何
creature.
の話をしてるのよ、あんたたちは。
Emotional damage.
魔女も3人集まれば実にかしましい。
Now we just need to get that fucking wolf in sheep's clothes for Jilligan here.
この程度のレベルの秘密じゃ、聞く価値もなさそうね。私、もう行ってもいい？
Yeah, we got a plan.
次のゲームの準備をしなくちゃならないから。
ちょっと待ちなさいよ。あの女の正体を教えなさいよ。
じゃあ、あなたのとっておきの秘密を先に教えなさいよ。
And now we just leave after we
似
get
合う
it.
ものだったら教えてあげるの。
Part of the
いい
deal.
わよ。教えてあげるわ。ほら、今回のゲームで黄金を見つけて、新しい魔女になった子がいたでしょ。
Yeah,
あやつ
Ava
に
sure
一
did
体
that.
どんな秘密があるというのか。
あの子の正体にね、私気づいちゃったの。
What do you mean?
みんなにはわかるかしら。ヒントはね、喋り方にあったのよ。ほら、あの子よく口にしてたでしょ。
What you mean like Ava Beatrice or Ava?
なんとかしちゃえば。
Oh, how she really drags down and talks like a thug.
そう、この語尾がポイントだったのよ。エヴァ。
Oh, Ava. Ava.
エヴァ。
Yeah.
そう。あいつの正体は、後ろ宮エヴァだったのよ。
We're leaving.
驚いちゃったかしら。
I'm just staring blankly at the screen, not even focused on anything. My eyes are like drifting apart.
ほう、それは気づかなかった。
That's
そのようなところにヒントがあったとはな。
ベアトって付き合いがいい
no.
ね。
I don't think she's playing along.
その子、
Just
増長
a
するから
coincidence.
ほどほどになさいよ。じゃあね、私は席を外すわ。
ちょっと私の秘密だけ聞いて、あんたが喋んないなんてずるいわよ。あんたもあの女の正体を
Got
話
me
しなさい
excited
よ。
for like a second there in the beginning.
あんたの秘密がすごすぎて釣り合わないわ。じゃあ代わりに私もとっておきの秘密を教えてあげる
At
わ。
least you know how to handle her well.
日暮らしの泣く頃にってゲームの犯人の名前を教えてあげる。
Society.
言わないで。私今プレイしてるとこなの。
It's okay, you can say it. I know. I watched the Dean anime back in the day.
じゃあね、ベアト。紅茶美味しかったわ。
I know I said, like, when I first started this, yeah, I'll read the manga, because, you know, I hear it's a pretty good adaptation of it, you know, get in the mindset. That was a lie. I never did that. I got too busy with other stuff and just forgot.
あと、
And at this point,
お
it's
茶菓
like,
子
you
のクラ
know,
ッカーだけど、 ジャムのレパートリーが足りないわ。たまにはコチュジャンでも用意しなさい。
You know what the difference between jam and jelly is? Can't jelly my dick up your ass.
ロシアンティーにもぴったりだし。
I don't really like chili paste.
じゃあね。
そうか、わかったぞ。試してみよう。次のゲームの準備が整ったら要望ぞ。それまでゆっくり戦略でも
I
練る
definitely
わ
prefer
よ。
jam though. Preserves are like a little too much because it's just like big fucking chunks of fruit.
ええ、そうするわ。
And jelly is just like
今回のゲーム
there's not enough
な
substance
かな
to
か
it.
面白かったわよ。じゃあね。
Might as well be jello.
ちょっと待ちなさいよ。
Oh hush.
いやいや、本当にお二人は仲が良い。
Yeah, with friends like these.
ええ、そうよ。はあ、大好きよ、ベルンカステル。
What a bunch of besties.
愛してるとさえ言ってもいいわ。あの瞳をえぐり出して、私以外を映さないようにしてやりたい。ああ、それは本当に素敵よね。
Well, Higurashi Go makes more sense now.
紅茶に沈めても素敵かもしれない。
ラムダデルタ教をここまで夢中にさせるとは。わらわも責
I
任
mean, you
重
know,
大であるわ。
she's pretty charming.
しかし今回は実に惜しかった。あと一息でバトラーをコロリといけたものを。
ベアと一個聞いていい？
And I feel like that win wouldn't have counted though if you physically force his hand to sign the signature.
なんであるか？あの女の名前は教えぬぞ。
Yep, gotta save it for next round.
いつまでチャラけてんのよ。あんた勝つ気あんの？
Lambda Delta threatened her with a low voice that she'd never used in front of Burncasto. It completely blew away the calm atmosphere which had been there till a moment ago.
私はね、ベルンカステルに勝てる魔女ってことであんたに肩入れしてんのよ。あんたにベルンカステルに勝てる力がないってんなら、
What, you gonna have to make your own place?
いつだって私はあんたなんか見捨てるんだからね。
これは手厳しい。わらわの何がご不満なのか、今日もご存知の通り、わらわのゲーム版は完璧だ。ベルンカステル教には決して勝てはせん。
Well, so you say.
そうよ。あんたのゲーム版は実
With
に
enough
見
time, you
事
know, you can get a win out of anything.
ベルンカステルが100年はおろか1000年を費やそうとも絶対に勝つことのできない実に見事な完璧なゲーム版よ。
Though she also could just get bored because she doesn't have as much skin in the game as last time.
だから私はそれを借りることの引き換えにあんたを魔女にしてやったのよ。私があんたの後見人をやめればあんたはすぐに人間に逆戻る。どんなにすごい魔力を持っていてもあんたはかりそめの魔女でしかないことを決して忘れないことよ。
分かっておる。そなたには感謝しておる。
タメ口聞かないでよ。ベルンカステルがいるときは許すけどいないときは許さないわ。
There's a hierarchy here.
あんた最近私の恩を忘れてるでしょ。
Gotten your place.
そんなことはありません。
はあ、やっぱ気持ち悪いわ。いつもの喋り方でいい。でも口の聞き方には注意してよ。私案外短気。
Yeah, you're just one of those little 2-cent minions who's like, yeah, you tell him, boss. That's all you are, Beatrice.
話を戻すわ。あんたのゲーム版は実に完璧。ベルンカステルを容易に任すことができるでしょうよ。しかしあの子は簡単に屈服しない。何度でも挑んでくるわ。
問題はない。ラムダデルタ教のお墨付きではないか。わらわのゲーム版は
Well, you know, anything can come out of left field.
そうよ、完璧よ。プレイヤーであるあんたは完璧ならね。
Yep. Human error.
それはどういう意味か。
どういう意味？
You might make a gaff.
私が聞きたいくらいよ。あんたのゲームには遊びが多い。それは時にベルンカステルを煙に巻くから、あんたなりの策略なんだと私も最初は思ってた。
Nah, she's just doing it for fun.
でもなんだか違う気がするの。あんた勝てる試合をもてあそんでるんじゃなくて、勝っても負けてもどうでもいいって思ってるんじゃないの？
Yeah, this isn't a casual lobby. This is ranked, Beato. You need to get your fucking head in the game.
そんなことあるわけもなかろうが。
いいこと？あんたの役目はベルンカステルを
You're
屈服させ
fucking
る
like
こ
just
とよ。
jumping off ladders, trying to get like 360 no scopes for your fucking highlight reel, you know,
つまりゲームに
when you know, making
永遠に
diamonds
勝
is
者
on
で
the
いる
line.
こと。あなたが絶対の勝者であり続けようとする限り、私は絶対の魔女としてあなたに力を与えるわ。でももしあなたが自らの敗北の可能性を否定しないような戦い方をしているなら、話は変わるわよ。
もちろんこれはゲームである。
Yep.
わらわが勝てばベルンカステル教が負けるように。
Also, I just want to see if we can jump over to the characters and go to the human side, because we never got around to seeing how like Battler's text when he died, because the game just kind of kept going and going, and I got swept up in it and never got to, you know, actually see. Shot and killed by Ushirimiya Eva inside the mansion. The murder weapon was a sawed-off rifle from Kinzo's collection. Don't let the ATF find that he has those, otherwise they'll shoot your dog and your wife and one of your kids. Yep. Don't talk to the cops or the ATF. Coming from a fellow Fed. Jessica lost her eyesight. There was only her and Battler. Wolf and sheep's puzzle. Jessica would be in here then too somewhere. Missing! She was indeed joined with Cannon in the Golden Land. They apologized to each other for their cowardice and told each other their true and honest feelings. They then hugged each other until the final moment. Afterwards, she was shot to bits by demons, and what the hell? It's okay. Cannon is with her. And Anje, I think we already read this. Yep, shot in the head by a spear weapon. Cool.
向こうが勝てばわらわが負ける日もあるだろう。
You can't have that.
常に敗北の可
No
能
wiggle.
性はあり得る。
100% victory only.
だからこそわらわは
You need to be certain to win.
だからあんたは使えないのよ。あんたはゲーム版である必要なんかない。ベルンカステルを永遠にここに閉じ込める鳥かごでさえあればいいの。鳥かごの役目は中の小鳥を絶対に逃がさないことよ。たまに抜け出せてしまうような隙間のある鳥かごに何の価値が？
無論ゲームは勝つため
You're
の。
just a tool, Beatrice. You're being
そ
used.
してわらわが負けることはありえぬ。ゆえにわらわは勝ち続けよ
This
う。
is just a proxy war.
お望み通り永遠に。
いい返事よ。それでいいわ。策略としての遊びやフェイクは許す。今回有効だったところもあるしね。でもね、もしあなたが勝ち以外を望むような指し手をしたら、その時は素敵な覚悟をなさいよね。
そのようなことはせんの。
You sure about that?
スカウト。
もともと魔女ですらないあんたがいつだって思い出させてあげるんだから。私の期待を裏切ったら。
All she's got to do is like take her finger and like move the hands on the clock and oh, it's midnight. The magical fade.
その時は楽しい楽しい罰ゲームが待ってるわよ。100億のかけら世界の中から最も惨めなかけらにあんたを送り込んで封印してあげる。
Well, that sounds awful.
あんたはもともとが惨めだから惨めなかけらも実に選びがいがあるわ。
Yeah, it's got a little uncomfortable. Just fade out.
愛してるわペルンカステル。ベアトリーチェの鳥かごで好きなだけあがいて。もはや逃れられないことを1000年かけて知りなさい。そしてあなたが屈服したら私の手のひらでしか泣けないようにたっぷりと仕込んであげるんだから。
At least take her out to dinner first. You gotta wine and dine before you get into the hard stuff. Okay, bye. Tea party. And the question marks. New elements have been added. New elements may be accessed from the title screen. Yes, they can, if you'll let me pass the swirling purple vortex. Welcome to the Tea Party of the Non-Human. Yeah, let's just hop right in. "12 years later." October 4th, 1998. Little hospital bed. Big old bag of mustard. A monotonous electronic sound kept on repeating. The theme of that room was a so-called hygienic emotionless white. It was a room of a certain university hospital. An ordinary person would be able to afford the cost of even a single night in this room. Wouldn't be able to afford the cost of even a single night in this room. A room which neither her doctors nor she herself had any doubts would be the last she ever stayed in. Was the person on the bed Ava? She looked haggard and aged, to the point that you would not believe it was her unless you were told. A well-built man in a suit, waiting in the corner near the door, was having a conversation with the outside in a low voice over the intercom. He was a guard protecting Ava's person. After telling the person on the other end of the intercom to wait, he approached Ava's bed. Ava had been awake for a while. However, she stared at a single point in empty space, as though her mind was not in the same place.
Anje さんが下のロビーに到着しました。お通ししてよろしいですか?
That sure is some fucking kanji there. For a long time, Ava didn't answer. However, bit by bit, her eyes began to regain their focus. She gave a small nod, indicating that she didn't mind if they called Angie, as it said. Let's listen to that line again.
Anje さんが下のロビーに到着しました。お通ししてよ。Anje さんが下のロビーに到着しました。お通ししてよろしい。Anje さんが下のロビー。Anje さんが下。
Pronunciation is weird on that. We'll fucking come to, a good middle ground eventually. Ava herself had been the one to call her. And she was right on time. Ava now refused to meet anyone without an appointment made in advance. The reason the room was dark, even though it was still light outside, was because the curtains were closed. There was always one guard waiting in the room, and 3 more waiting in the corridor and the lobby. They were all there to protect Ava's person. Eventually, there was the sound of a knock. Also, there was a message from the intercom that the guest's body check had been completed with no problems. The door was unlocked, then opened, and a woman of about high school age was standing there.
会長、Anje さんがいらっしゃいました。
It's like Anje. Anje? Ava reacted and turned her face towards the guest. However, instead of reacting to the guard's call, maybe it would be better to say that she reacted to the smell of Anje's makeup. Having been shut up in this room for so long, Ava was sensitive to small changes in smell. That's weird.
来たわね、エンジ。
来たわ。
Alright, characters, woo! Boop! Anje, Rudolph and Kyrie's daughter, Battler's younger half-sister. She didn't get to see Battler often, but they got on extremely well, and she greatly respected him. Since she was absent due to illness during the family conference, she always survives in solitude. Unfortunately, she has become emotionally disturbed, always carries a huge amount of cash with her, and has a bad habit of throwing it around to make sure she never has to wait.
呼ばれたから。
On Ava's face, you couldn't find the expression of one warmly welcoming their niece. And on Anje's face, you couldn't see the expression of one pleased to see their aunt. Ava waved her arm, which had grown as thin as a withered branch, and motioned for the guard to leave. The guard bowed silently and went out into the hall.
暗い上に空気もひどいわ。カーテンでも開けたら。
そうすると、あんたの依頼して殺し屋が窓越しに撃ってくるって寸法なのかしら。
I mean, you sound a little paranoid, but, you should be.
あんたの暗殺依頼なら、私が受けたいわ。家でのんびり、ほんの一月も過ごしてれば、勝手に任務が終わるもの。
Their discussion was quite morbid for an aunt and niece. However, it didn't look like they were joking. At the very least, Ava did believe that someone was after her life. All of the Ushirimiya family's massive fortune had come into the possession of Ushirimiya Ava. It was said that this fortune also included the 10 tons of hidden gold that Ushirimiya Kinzo was rumored to have kept concealed. They could do nothing while this vast wealth was in the hands of the cunning, sly, and extremely suspicious Ava. But it was rumored that if it was passed on to Anje, who was no more than a young girl, certain people were plotting to snatch it away at once. By now, Ava and Anje were Kinzo's only descendants. If Ava died, all the wealth would go to Anje. And if Anje were to be killed as well, that wealth would go to the family of Anje's mother, Kyrie. In this sense, not only Ava, but Anje as well, was in a position where it wouldn't be odd at all for her life to be targeted by some unknown person. And Ava had hated Anje for a long time, because after losing her precious only son George, she had learned that there was only one who had survived to inherit her own wealth. It was Anje, who had been absent from the family conference 12 years ago. Ava shunned Anje, hated her, even detested her. She isolated Anje in a special school and separated her from the youth and happiness normal people have, trying to derive her a life of all opportunity. However, Ava had succumbed to an incurable illness, and ironically, her remaining life was estimated to be the same as Kinzo's had been at the family conference 12 years earlier. Both Ava and Anje hated each other. Even though they were each other's last blood relatives, they hated each other so much that they hoped the other would die quickly.
それで、わざわざ呼びつけて何の用？
私はもう長くないわ。
Wanna come clean?
ヤブ医者どもは、未だに私が盛られた毒が何かも検出できない。
Yeah, but of course you think someone's fucking, putting rat poison in your
わ
food.
かってるの？きっと某国の諜報機関で使われてた秘密の暗殺薬なのよ。ああ、私は殺されるのよ。殺されるのよ。
Off your rocker. Explains why she's, so thin in the arms, Probably not even eating, just pure paranoia.
もうじき死ぬわよ。そうすれば、さぞやあなたの胸がすくでしょうね。
Got that right.
かわいそうな人。
This always happened. She immediately deviated from the main topic, distorting it into a more unsettling discussion. Ava, who was full of suspicion, believed that someone was always after her life. Indeed, after inheriting the vast wealth of the Ushirimiya family, she had used wild methods just like Kinzo had done in the past, and had repeatedly made money by any means necessary, creating many enemies along the way. With a massive supply of capital, she had launched aggressive takeovers against businesses which were starting to have rapid growth. making them buy it back at a high price under the guise of reconciliation. Ironically, it was the same type of action that her husband's company had been hit with 12 years ago. She had repeated this constantly for the past 12 years. She had also earned a lot of hatred. If her husband had heard of this from beyond the grave, he might have defended her, saying that this was because of the loneliness from losing her family. However, no one who knew her now would come to her defense. For some time, Ava waxed eloquently about exactly how her life was being targeted, listing off names of people who likely held hatred for her, and sneering at the fact that she still hadn't been killed. Even when Anje heard her own name included in that list, her expression did not change significantly, and she waited indifferently for Ava to tire herself out.
私はね、憎いのよ。あんたが。
Okay,
光栄ね。
same.
私もよ。
ジョージのために気づいた未来だった。
And then he died.
それをあんたにかすめ取られるなんて。
But you make it sound like you didn't kill him, so that's interesting.
ルドルフの娘に奪われるなんて。私は悔しい。子も
At least you
残
don't
せ
think
ず
you killed him.
財産すらも奪われるなんて、それが私には許せない。
だったら財産全部お布施にでもしちゃえば。
Go the fucking Arnold Palmer route, you know? Start a, spaghetti sauce brand that the money goes to charity.
お百度踏んでた宗教系の連中はどうしたのよ。
You did other stuff too.
連中はみんな言うのよ。
I do think philanthropy is good, but it shouldn't be like the only way that shit gets done. We can get into tax policy later and what the obligations of the state and the individual are at a separate time.
多すぎる財産が私の負担になっているって。決まってだから預けて清める必要があるとか言い出すのよ。
Yeah, just, pay your tithes, and then you can go to heaven when you croak.
それで思いついたのよ。寄付はやめたわ。
Yeah, that'll show him. For a time, Ava had invited in the founders of several strange new religious cults, perhaps looking for peace in her heart. But in the end, they did not give her heart any relief, and only further increased her suspicion.
お金が余ってるならサラブレッド買い占めてコンビーフでも作れば。
それよりもっと面白いことを思いついたのよ。いろいろ悩んだわ。
What you come up with?
どうやればあなたをひどい目に遭わせられるかをね。殺してしまおうとも思ったわ。あるいはすべての財産を消し去り、あなたを無一文にして後ろ宮家から叩き出してやろうかとも思ったわ。素敵でしょ？
I mean, I don't think she really cares.
お上品に育てられたご令嬢が腐ったパンや泥水を這いつくばって漁り回るのよ。ああ、それも実に素敵だわ。
I mean, she's probably got a little money kicking around from, her inheritance from both her parents.
楽しい？
楽しいわ。あなたを怯えさせるのはね。
Yeah, I don't think you're doing a very good
で
job.
ももうじき私は死ぬわ。だから私が死んだ後もどうやってあなたを苦しませ続けるか考えたの。そうしたら案外単純なことだったわ。それをあなたに話したくて呼んだのよ。
What, about what happened on Rokkenjima? Really give her some baggage to lug around?
そろそろ中間近いんだけど手短にね。
あなたに すべての財産を
Yeah,
相続することに
You'll
した
have the
わ。
exact thing that's happening to me happen to you, then you'll truly be in hell.
へえ、
それどころか私が死ぬ最後の一日までどこまでも財産を増やして膨れに膨らませ
Crush you
てあ
under
な
it.
たに相続することにしたのよ。それがどういうことか想像がつくかしら。
わかんないわ。バカだから。
Yeah. Same. I'd be like, all right, let me just get my investment firm, people. Split it up, diversify my portfolio. Okay, I'm gonna go retire to my like golf course house.
そうよね。わかんないでしょうね。楽しみにしてなさいよ。本当に楽しいわよ。お金持ちは。毎日日本中の妖怪が朝から晩まで遊びに来るわよ。あんたの私
Oh,
生活
just don't answer the
これ
door.
からはすべてワイドショーと週刊誌が覗き見してくれるわ。何をしてもしなくてもマスコミは必ず私を批判する。
Okay, well, that's your own fault.
施せばブルジョワだと叩かれ、渋れば主戦度だと罵られる。ああ、本当に素敵な毎日よ。そんな日々に若くて先の長いあなたをぜひ招待してあげようと思いついた
I
の。
mean, that's just more time to adapt to it.
本当に素敵
You know,
で
you just
しょ
kind of got whiplash from it.
あんたのしてきたことに対する世間の正当な評価でしょ。
そうね。
Yeah, having
So
vast
this-
influence comes with, you know, the vast responsibility of that influence.
いいわ。好きなだけ私を罵るといいわ。そしてその評価をあなたが背負うのよ。製品が善人、金持ちは死ねというのが日本の文化。
Amen, brother.
あんたはやがて
Inshallah.
何をしてもしなくても日本中から妬みと恨みの象徴に祭り上げられていく。そんな生活の中で生きていくあなたのこれからの人生は
Well, and it's the late 90s, so it's
どんなに
the
もいびつなものなのかしら。
middle of the lost decade. So
あんたの味方は誰もいない。
people probably have some real strong feelings about people who made a lot of money in the 80s right now.
あんたの悩みなど誰も聞かない。あなたを罵ることは公然としたスポーツになる。そしてそれを誰も止めない。ああ、エンジェ。ああ、本当に楽しみよ。
Man, you're just like off in your own little world, ain't you?
あんたはどんな人生を
Both
送
of
っ
them.
てどう終えるのかしら。世界中の誰も信用できず、誰も愛せず、誰とも語り合えない人生をたっぷり満喫しなさい。その苦労話を持って
It's like when you're at like a big family get together and it's like, oh yeah, this is like your fucking
私はの
like your great great aunt who saw you once when you were just born and now it's 25 years later and she's like 102 and she's talking to you and it's just like like you're just kind of following along but kind of spacing out a little because it's like I have no idea who you are, but sure man, keep talking. 'Her insane laughter turned into a painful cough. Without changing her expression the slightest, looking completely unconcerned, Anje stared at the only survivor of Rokkenjima. Perhaps because she found the violent coughing odd, a guard flew in as he gave a short knock on the door. Anje glanced at him, wordlessly showing that she hadn't moved a step from where she had been. Anje was prepared for some kind of trap to frame her in Ava's death. However, that was fortunately a needless anxiety. As the guard rubbed Ava's back, he poured hot water from a thermos into a mug. As he did, Ava kept coughing, looking like she was in pain. Anje thought this was probably the final form of the Witch of Rokkenjima, and the last she would be able to see. Eventually, Ava was able to moisten her throat and regain her normal breathing. However, the glittering madness inside her eyes hadn't subsided in the slightest. Yeah, that's right. It is like the Rhine Gold.
そして黄金の魔女ベアトリーチェの名を今こそあなたに譲るわ。
Alright, now go cast it into the fires of Mount Doom. Wash your hands with the matter. Be like, alright.
楽しみなさい。
そんなのいらないわ。それより教えて。あの日、ロッケン島で何があったの？事故があったなんて、私は信じない。あの日に何があったのか、父さんと母さんと兄さんがどうして死んだのか。
Yeah, what is the cover story?
ああ、それが一番の嫌がらせよね。あの日に何があったか。1986年の今日、なんて言葉を残して3人が死んだのか知りたいわよね。教えないわよ。
Wouldn't be that easy.
呪われた黄金は残す。
And nothing but
でも
questions.
ね、あんたが望む真相は私が地獄まで持っていくわ。それがあんたにできる一番の嫌がらせよ。悔しい？聞きたければ地獄まで行ってあんたの家族に聞いてみるといい。なら今すぐ死なないとね。今すぐへそでも噛んで死んじゃえば。
Nope. The best revenge is to live a long, peaceful life. I'm only happy about that. People who say revenge isn't worth it have never gotten, like, true revenge. It is totally worth it. That's just something they tell people so that way they don't come after them. That laugh continued until she started coughing again. And that cough did not subside until she started moaning and going into convulsions. Oh! Flashbang. October 4th, 1986. On Rokkenjima, the Ushirimiya family's customary and final family conference was held. And on the next day, October 5th, an extremely unfortunate accident occurred, and the Ushirimiya family was wiped out. As good luck would have it, Ushirimiya Ava escaped from that, and succeeded almost all the Ushirimiya family's fortune. What are they gonna blame it on? Just like a gas leak? And, you know, she was off on a walk or something, and was fine? However, due to the many turbulent rumors surrounding the Ushirimiya family, the way Ava acted afterwards, and her unnatural actions at the time of the unfortunate accident, there was public controversy over whether this might have been a plot to get all the inheritance for herself. Under pressure from the public, prosecutors attempted numerous investigations. Is that prosecutors? Yeah, it is. Okay, just the word looked funny to me. It was right. And the media began tracing the outline of the murder plot under the name of Rokkenjima Magnate. Magnate? Maggate? Rokkenjima Gate. Oh my god. But in the end, they were not able to find a sufficient proof that this unfortunate accident was a crime. However, because the media continued to give the impression that Rokkenjima Gate was a murder plot by Ava, public opinion began to believe that she was the true culprit. Of course, all that easily condemnable, overbearing financial activity which she had carried out using that vast wealth left a bad impression that only made matters worse. Every time she did something and the rumors started spreading, the talk shows would bring back Rokkenjima Gate, blaming the justice system by saying that she was the true culprit and that the only reason that she hadn't been arrested was because the police had been bribed. I mean, probably. And the impression that she was an evil criminal grew stronger and stronger. Her heart eventually, degenerated. And ironically, it began to transfigure her into the kind of human that the public expected. By now, Eva had no one she trusted and no family. Her beloved husband, Hideyoshi, was already no more, and the talk shows would occasionally mention his company, saying that it was run recklessly while criticizing and disgracing its former accomplishments. Even her beloved son, George, was dramatized as the stereotypical rich, lazy son that the public expected, and no one even attempted to find out what a simple and honest character he had possessed. As to how much all this hurt Eva and ran her to ruin, no one was interested. The public was only interested in the idea of an evil woman who had gone so far as to kill her whole family to become a multimillionaire, and in what kind of pitiful final years she would lead. So she changed more and more, till eventually, Eva's personality was transfigured to the point that she was treated as a lunatic. It was said that she sometimes remembered that this was exactly the same way her father Kinzo, who she had once admired, had been in his later years, and laughed at herself with scorn. And, on the final day of that family conference, because Ushiromiya Rudolph's daughter, Anje, had been sick and stayed with her mother's family, she had not participated. At the age of 6, she lost her family and gained Eva as her guardian. Since Anje had become Eva's only blood relative, Eva took very good care of her. She had imposing guards always surrounding Anje's person to prevent her from coming to harm. Anje had even her right to play with friends, to come home from school together and enjoy the seasons together, stolen. So that she can live a full and pleasant school life, Eva sent Anje to an elegant boarding school which took care of her every need, completely isolating her from the world. She didn't even know the popular songs that girls her age might hum. She was never once given a chance to enjoy window shopping with her friends or stuff her mouth with crepes, much less an encounter with a member of the opposite sex to make her heart throb. Anje did not have a single friend. Anyone carelessly acted friendly with Anje, they'd be scolded by the guards, or else the teachers. All of them were strictly ordered not to let the peasants approach the daughter of the esteemed Ushiromiya family. During that time, the talk shows were always talking about Ushiromiya Eva, always spreading rumors about her many financial evil deeds. Those who found out she was her daughter naturally began to keep their distance. Even now, she was called a witch at school, and anytime something adverse happened, it was baselessly whispered as truth that the school was operating according to her wishes, and that she had something to do with it. The environment makes the person. By now, she had a heart as hardened as those around her feared. She trusted no one and didn't even try. She loved no one and didn't even try. And on top of all this, when Eva caught an incurable illness, it was whispered that this too had been planned, and this time, Anje was set up as the mastermind. Everyone whispered that the daughter of a witch was a witch. Even the talk shows and weekly magazines whispered that. So Anje too, because of that, no, as though it might as well be true, accepted it. Therefore, since she already believed that she was a witch, when she heard that the name of the Golden Witch was being turned over to her, she felt nothing if not completely unfazed. However, she was at least sure of one thing. This title of witch that she had inherited would definitely never be inherited by anyone else. She would be the last head of the Ushiromiya family, and the last isolated Golden Witch. Anje could be seen on the roof of a skyscraper. Compared to the winds of the world which had beaten down upon her until now, this strong, cold wind was warm and pleasant. Below her lay a beautiful nighttime scene and a dazzling river of red and white lights. It was a clear sky tonight, so there really should have been countless stars stretching out over the sky. However, the light from the ground was so bright, you couldn't see them at all. Anje couldn't help but think that what she really saw lay somewhere in that unseen starlight. The world of reality below her looked so far away from here. This place felt to her as the closest to the world she would really be. This place felt to her as the closest to the world she should really be in. There was only one thing that Anje cursed. Why had I not been able to go to that family conference on the day 12 years ago? If I had gone, I would have probably been able to have been with my family forever. Recently, I've been having a dream about my family over and over again. Myself of 12 years ago calls out frantically, urging them not to go to the family conference. But both Mom and Dad are too far away, and my hands won't reach them. I reach out for the hands of Battler Nissan, who always really loved me, the hand that would always pat my head. Even though it looks like it's so close to reaching, even that falls short. For some reason, I started having that dream over and over again. Whenever I have that dream, I repeat my useless efforts inside the dream, trying to stretch out my hand even more forcefully. If only Battler Nissan could have at least lived. Then perhaps, at least the two of us could have supported each other through life in this cold and lonely reality. But his hand never reaches me. So even if I climb to the roof of a building as tall as this one, I'm distantly separated from all of them. A mysterious girl appears in my dreams and urges me. That girl in my dreams urges me to arrive at the truth of whatever happened 12 years ago. And for some reason, she has like a cat tail. And her breath smells strongly of booze and like spice. There was no way that anyone existed who could answer those words. I understand. In this world, I have no family, no friends, no one. So, let's go. Let's go home, to where my family is. From the beginning, Anje's figure had been on the far side of the fence. The scenery below her eyes was distant, beautiful, and so fantastical that it did not give rise to the slightest bit of fear. If I face down, I'll surely be taken to the world below. So I faced up, because I wanted to be taken to the world above, the world where my family was. Who cares about vast wealth? Who cares about cursed gold? Who cares about the Golden Witch Beatrice? What I really want isn't something that even a mountain of gold will help me obtain. What I need for that is just the small amount of courage to take a single step forward. Just then, I definitely heard a voice. I knew that voice. The voice that had always called to me in my dreams. Before my eyes, in other words, in midair above that jet black nighttime scenery, there was a figure of that girl I had seen in my dreams. She spoke again, with the same voice I had heard inside my dreams. Your idiot brother needs an assist. He's calling in a striker. Well, maybe not for you in this timeline, but you know, you can save the main timeline, I guess. I don't know. When I asked the question I most wanted to ask, the girl cruelly stopped talking and hung her head.
私には太刀打ちできない。でも同じ黄金の魔女ならなんとかなるかもしれない。
何の話か
Well, you
わからないわ。
inherited the gold and the title, so
1986年のベアトリーチェに太刀打ちできるのは1998年の最後のベアトリーチェだけ。つまりあなたにエンジェベアトリーチェ。
12年前の魔女が私の家族を奪ったの。
そう、あなたの仇にあたる。あなたに常に孤独な未来を強いる元凶よ。
time for some revenge.
私の家族の仇。
Time to fucking Count Monte Cristo it up.
あなたの望む最も理想的な世界、家族の帰ってくる世
You've got
界
your
の
wealth in a
かけ
cover
らを
name
探してあ
now.
げるの。でも必ず希望が叶うと約束はできない。1986年のベアトリーチェのゲーム版はあまり今日の手土産に
Good thing we're
そ
bringing
の
back
理
a
想
game
のか
shark
けらを
from
持参しよ
98.
うとしたんだけれど未だに見つけられないの。かなりの強固な運命よ。ラムダデルタと戦った時以来の。
Mm-hmm. But you managed to fucking worm your way out of that one.
何を言ってるのかわからない。
あなたに復讐のチャンス。見返りにあなたが享受できる可能性の中で最も幸せな結末を探して持ってくることを約束するわ。
復讐。
徒労になるかもしれない。仮に復讐を成し遂げられたとしても
Mm-hmm.
家族が帰ってくる絶対の保証はない。
But you can get a smug self sense of satisfaction.
奇跡的確率で
So many S's there, melted
せい
my
ぜい
brain.
一人を連れ戻せるかどうかよ。
Anje now understood the meaning of that dream. The dream where it seemed that, with just a little bit more, her hand might at least be able to reach Battler Nissan.
奇跡的な確率でもそれはゼロよりは高いのよね。
Yep.
1% くらい。
Just keep rolling that dice, you'll hit it eventually.
あらゆる可能性の数値は結果の前に無力よ。だからその数字を私には語ることができない。
でも私が何もしないよりは絶対にわずかの可能性がある。
ええ、あなたが希望を捨てない限り。ただし覚悟して、
Yeah, it's gonna be a rough one.
それは限りなくゼロに近い。
いいわ。乗るわ、その話。
いいのね。多分もう二度とここへは帰ってこれないわよ。
And not like there's anything here for her anyway.
ここは私のいるべき世界じゃないわ。そして私のい
Yeah,
るべ
this
き世
fucking
界は
timeline sucks. Let's bounce.
私が自分で探す。あなたの名前を聞かせて。
奇跡の魔女ベルンカステル、そして我が名あなた黄金の魔女エンジェ・ベアトリーチェだと認める。
Alright, new name, Witchicide. Oh, so many names, characters everywhere. Anje Beatrice, the final witch, born in 1998. Named by Ava as her successor and accepted by Bern Castell as her guardian. She is starting from zero as a witch, but as her body is isolated 12 years in the future, she possesses ultimate magic resistance that prevents her from being targeted by any of Beatrice's magic. Additionally, completely converse to her older brother's magic resistance, she has a natural talent for attacks against magical types. Okay. Potential in both attack and defense is of the highest level, but the distance is great. 12 years really is. Really is what? Or it just really is great.
今こそあなたは本当の魔女よ。
That makes sense. Beatrice can't touch her because, you know, she's further ahead in the timeline. The instant she proclaimed that I was a witch, I felt dizzy, as though something inside me had changed drastically. Just then, I heard a slam. It was the sound of the door connecting the staircase to the roof being opened. there were Auntie Ava's guards. Guards only in name. They were, whoa, this is going fast. They dashed forward horrified.
20マルタイ発見屋上応援求むエンジェさん探しましたよ
Time to fly!
そこは危ないですから早くこちらへ
何あれファンクラブよ私結構モテるの捕まる必要はないわね行きましょう
Hey, let's go. Well, with that, we have most of the cast now, at least from the opening movie. I'm pretty sure there's still a couple characters bouncing around that we haven't seen yet, but, you know, they'll crawl out of the woodwork eventually. Oh, my man. Oh, God. I tried to sleep last night. Like, actually, during the night, it was a rough one. The squirrels are in my ceiling. It's not that big a deal during the day because it's warm enough that they're all outside. But at night, it gets chilly, and I just hear them fucking skittering around on the top of the drywall. And, like, sometimes they'll, like, drop an acorn or something, and it'll just roll. And so now I'll just hear, like, fucking acorn rolling around on, like, the slanted part of my ceiling. Because my room is up, like, the ceiling of my room isn't, like, entirely flat. It's only flat for, like, 7 feet, and then it's the slopes of the ceiling. So those fucking drop shit. They have like a nut cache up in there. And when they're going for it, oh man, it's like the fucking end of the world up there. So then I have to get up and I have to bang on my ceiling at like 3 in the morning. And then I get like some dog barking sound effects on my phone on YouTube. And like hold that up to the drywall and smack it. And that shuts them up for a little bit. Looking annoyed, Bernkestel turned on her heels. In the jet black sky. Watching that perfectly casual gesture, I followed her as though it was completely normal.
エンジェさん待ちなさい早まるな危ない
ああ、ダメね。全然ダメ。じゃあまたね。See you again。迎えにはリムジンをよこしてちょうだい。みんなも一緒だから。じゃあね。
エンジェさん
Ooh, good CG. And she did a flip! New game board added. The next episode has been unlocked. New elements added. The elements may be accessed from the title screen. Excellent. Fantastic. Alright, what's our new backdrop this time? Ooh, just the portrait. Very nice. Tips? What new tips did we get? Episode 3, did it just unlock the Grimoire stuff? Portrait of the Witch, Chester's. Did we read this? I don't think we did. Score sheet, that's just everything we read in the credits of last time. Let's read about the Chester Sisters Imperial Guard Corps. An Imperial Guard Corps formed by the Dragon King Pendragon in celebration of the Red Dragon's flight, and composed only of sisters. They were originally subordinates of the Dragon King, but because of a long relationship with past Beatrices, it permitted 2 of the Imperial Guard soldiers to be lent out. The sisters are beings with false life, created by magic. For that reason, sisters with a great variety of personalities are even now being created as their numbers continue to increase. Manifesting into the human world requires a great cost, and summoning them is difficult even without taking their tremendous fighting power into consideration. For this reason, they are often summoned as honor guards in special ceremonies. So, definitely just sounds like Dragon King, Pendragon, Red Dragon of Albion, yada yada. Big Arthurian stuff there, but I don't know fucking what the Chester Bunny Sisters are actually doing. Their golden bow. One of the pieces of sniping equipment belonging to the Chester Sisters Imperial Guard Corps. The arrow's trajectory can be controlled at will, but it takes a special talent and special training to master its true potential. Therefore, the equipment itself is a sign of a high-class sniper's prestige. It is a masterpiece anti-armor sniping bow, capable of penetrating a wide variety of armors and barriers, and with a rich variety of selectable ammunition for the arrow's warhead. Furthermore, the ones primarily used throughout the story were wire-guided, winged-piercing rounds. Okay, because they were wire-guided, they are capable of highly deceptive, long-distance precision sniping in complicated indoor terrain battles. Did we read about the succession of the witch? We'll read it, just in case. In the noble families of witches, family secrets are often inherited by a single child to prevent the unchecked propagation of hidden arts and the decline of quality. It is the same with endless witches, where the greatest hidden art goes to a single child, and the predecessor retires after passing it on, protecting even more strongly against the spread of the hidden arts. Custom dictates that a witch from another sect must make a recommendation for the succession. Ava's reference was Lambda Delta. Anje's was Berncastel. It's unknown who recommended Beato. And furthermore, during the story, Beatrice passed on her name as well, but this custom only began recently. The predecessor was the original Beatrice, and all endless witches before had different names. After all, it became customary that the name was also inherited, and Ava, following that tradition, gave Anje the name of Beatrice. Cool, neat. Grimoire, anything new in there? Nope, just Galgay. Characters? Let's check out our character sheet. I don't think we can execute Anje because she's like outside like our ability, yeah? Yeah. Kill Battler. Resurrect him. Because have fun. And then we can't, yeah. Click on execute, doesn't do anything. Ava didn't die. We can't kill her because she survived. Which side? We read about the Chiesters. We read about Anje. Pretty sure we've read about you guys. We can care for whoever. We will take full advantage of that. Lambda Delta seems unable to abandon those. Yep, caught some of fate. Strongest of any witch unfolds. Yep. Okay. We'll just read the little preview text for episode 4 here. Episode 4, Alliance of the Golden Witch. Good morning. I would never have imagined that you would have not surrendered by now. At this point, even I must expect great things from you. The game is played not only on the board. Perhaps this time, you should take a small peek beyond its borders? As they say, if you know your enemy, you need not fight 100 battles. The difficulty level depends on you. How you have chosen to battle up until now will influence the difficulty. What does that mean? It's not like there's any choices, unless there are going to be choices now. Who knows? But we'll have to find out next time on the next episode of Umineko. Hope to see you guys all then, where we'll be kicking off episode 4. Catch you guys later. Bye. Mwah.